Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you for joining me, your host, Rudrani Davy. Of course, it's me again for the Get Happy podcast. Let's do this. I'm so excited to have a repeat offender, the lovely and talented and beautiful Miss Heather Nichols. Thank you so much for joining us. The crowd goes wild.
I've never been called that before. This is the first. Repeat offender. I like it.
Well, here's the thing. I don't remember exactly, but you were within my first 5 interviews.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Oh my goddess. And November 11th marked the 1-year anniversary. And Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, was my first guest. And I don't know, you might have been the second or third. I don't recall, but you were right up in there. So
I remember
you were
that.
willing to show up for me. So thank you for that. And we're still at it. So how does it get you back?
Yeah.
So you guys that don't know who Heather Nichols is, and you should, would you please, honestly, I love this lady so much. Would you please introduce yourself to our podcast listeners and those watching on YouTube now and in the future, who you are, what you do, all the things?
All the things. Well, I have no idea who I am. So there's that. Let's just cover that quickly. I know some of the things that I do. So I am a certified access consciousness facilitator. I actually was a body-centered psychotherapist for 13 years, and I taught a lot of movement. I've worked with bodies for 25 years in a lot of different ways: hands-on work, meditation, movement, psychotherapy. And then I found Access, and it was just a lot faster than everything else I had done before, and easier and more fun and deeper and all that good stuff. So I shifted gears, and I love facilitating kind of everything. I'm a Joy of Business facilitator. I'm a Being You facilitator. I'm an X-Men facilitator. I do a lot of work with bodies, parenting, all of it, because it's fun to just use the tools everywhere. And those 4 elements of creation, which are my friends.
Oh my gosh. So, and she just kind of jumped ahead of it, because this is kind of a special, I'm doing a series of these 4 elements of creation. And
Oh no.
I really wanted to talk to Heather about this. But before I even go into that, she talked about working with bodies. You guys, this lady, one of the books, I don't know when this one's going to show up, it's halfway written now, working title PTSD and Me, and the tools of access, and how I was able to unwind that in about 4 months' time. Heather, you have a starring role, and I would love to interview you for this book, because you guys, I was going through some crazy stuff with PTSD and didn't know what was going on, because I felt like I'd lost control of my body. And Heather was facilitating me through actually signing up and becoming a CF. And she noted the weirdness that I be beyond the weirdness that I be normally, and was able to facilitate me through some of that stuff with the body movement. So yes, access is quicker. And yes, I want to acknowledge what you had in your toolbox even before access, and how you were able to include that with, furthering it along, because you have no idea how much you helped me with that. And I'm forever grateful.
Yeah. I still do use it, and it's wonderful stuff. And I worked a lot with trauma and helping people process trauma through their bodies, which is, it actually really gets rid of it when you do it like that, and it wasn't the weirdness that you be, it was something strange going on that wasn't you, and what we did was helped you get to you.
So true, you guys. I mean, she literally walked me through, or talked me through, both being an allowance of my body responding the way it needed to unwind all of the cellular memory that I didn't realize I was shoving or stuffing in there. We might have to have a whole nother conversation about that, because that was so amazing, and we will do it for that book. But this is
I'll be a repeat offender again.
Again, I love it so much. So I appreciate you being on the Get Happy podcast again. And yeah, let's talk about these four sources of creation. I've noticed, there's, I think a little over, I don't know, maybe you know better than I do, like a little over 300 of us CFs in the States and maybe 800 total around the world, 179 countries, something like that. I don't know.
I never remember the numbers. Yeah.
But the thing that struck me was how many CFs included, how many people in Access, and this is something we learn in Foundation, don't actually know how the four sources of creation work. And I know that when I tapped into the energy of that, my life exponentially changed, like in ways I would have never imagined, where, because I'm in Access now, I am creating beyond what I ever thought would be possible.
Mhm.
So I would love to know what your experiences are with the four sources of creation, maybe how you first discovered it, or maybe played with the tools of that. And let's first just say what the four sources are. Question. It all starts with a question, you guys: choice, possibilities, and contribution. So
Yeah.
go away, my love.
Kind of all you need, really. So
It
yeah,
is. So
yeah, yeah. I don't really know, like, I mean, I've been doing Access for over 10 years, so I don't remember like when I got introduced or whatever, but I did it. It was just kind of has always been there for me, I guess I would say. Creation is like my happy place, and really like I love creating, and I always have. And business to me is also like a really fun place to create. And so I did took some Joy of Business classes kind of early on, and became a Joy of Business facilitator as soon as you could be one. Like I was there, I was like, wherever you are in the world, Simone, who does Joy of Business, I'll be there for the facilitator class. Just let me know when you're going to do it. And I like flew to Australia for 4 days real quick, dropped my kids off with my parents, zipped down to Australia, did the facilitator training, came back. That was in like 2015, I think.
Oh, wow.
So it's always been a really big part of my world and my life. And I agree, like and the thing is that people don't quite, get this whole world of question, choice, possibility, contribution, because it's a completely different way of functioning. And it's like you get it, and then you get it more, and then you realize you never did get it, and then you get it more, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I thought I got it, but now I get it even more, and then more and more and more. So, and I would say like for me, it's really just become how I live and how I create. And even I do this program called the Generative Business Pods, which it's a 6-month business thing that I've been doing for years. And when I started it years ago, probably right around like maybe 2015 or so, I did it specifically because I wanted to create a program where people could actually embody question, choice, possibility, contribution as a way of living, functioning, creating their business. Like to me, that's always been the target, one of the targets of that program. So it's been a huge part of my work and my own personal journey. And it's just, we can kind of dive into like the ins and outs or whatever you want to call it. I don't even really know what to call it, but I'll say that it makes everything easy. When you function from asking questions, being the question, living the question, being curious about everything, and choice as a reality, choice as what actually creates, and not the other way around.
Right.
And like exploring possibilities and receiving the contribution of the universe. It's like, there's just, why would you do it the way that everybody else does it, which is so inefficient, inelegant, hard, not fun. You have to know the answers, you have to know the how. That's one of the things I say a lot is like, let go. Like you never ever have to know how again. Like how you're going to create something. You never have to know how. Give it up. It's irrelevant. When you have question, choice, possibility, contribution, how doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, that's the elegance of it, isn't it? It's so simple, and yet so many people don't realize they can actually choose it.
Yeah. And, like I said, it's like you choose it and then you're like, oh, cool. I asked some questions today, because it's a muscle. It's because in this, this reality, or like in the world, there is such a intense focus on that. If you desire to have something, you figure out how to get it first. That's the first thing you do, is you go to conclusion, right?
Mhm.
You figure out how to
Yeah,
get it.
where's the question in that? There is no question.
None. They can't coexist in the same space. Question and
Right, right.
conclusion, they cancel each other out, right? So figure out how you're going to do it. And then you do. And then you sort of choose it, although choice isn't a reality really. But then you set you set off to do it, and you like think you're going to follow the steps that you laid out to get to your destination. Well, how many people have tried that and failed miserably, because that's just not how it works ever,
Because if it did, then everybody would have done it already.
it would work,
It'd be like,
yeah,
they'd all be godzillionaires.
billionaires, exactly. Totally.
Same wavelength here.
Yeah.
I mean,
So to me, the elements of creation, or the sources of creation, whatever you want to call them, it's so pragmatic, because you have no idea how. You can't know how. You have no idea what, when, all these things. Like you don't know how you're going to get where you want to go. You don't know if you're going to, or even if you might find out that you don't even desire that. Like when you have these elements with you, then it's just like, wow, what's possible today? And there's so, like, what can show up is so much greater.
mhm. True story. Can you think of a time where, well, you know what? I know that it's been over 10 years or whatever, but think of something recently, and maybe it's like you don't even cognitively know, because you're being these four elements now, which is what it ends up being. For me especially, it's kind of like it comes so naturally now.
Mhm.
I'm always in the question of, okay, what can I create and generate today that will be a contribution right away? What can I be to create? And then all these choices show up. Can you think of something, like an example of when it was clear to you, maybe not 10 years ago, maybe not the first time, but where you saw it play in action?
Today.
Oh, that's awesome. 'Cause that's
I
about it.
mean, every day,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean, today was just like that. I mean, this is just how I live. So I see it play in action all the time. But yeah, I mean, today I had this big, massive, like for me, I was like 5 hours of time at home by myself, didn't have any calls or whatever, my calendar is usually pretty full.
Nice.
So yeah, I know. It was,
That looked
I was
like
like, I didn't have to take any kids to school. It was just like, I woke up and I'm like, oh, okay, I have until 12:30, and it was so cool, because I have so many things that I'm creating, and that I've just recently chosen to create even more, and a lot going on in my personal life of just like things I need to handle, forms to fill out, all that stuff. And then there's Christmas. And so,
yeah, that's right, you guys. It's almost Christmas. It's like December 16th,
yeah, I'm tweeting it.
2021, and we're
Yeah, whenever it airs, I don't know when that is, but so it was just, I love that, it's rare for me to have that, but I like try to kind of schedule that in, because it's really nurturing for me. But it was just, I just really got to be in question and be like, okay, now what? Now what is one of my favorite questions that really gets to these. It's a question, but there's also a choice in it. Like you're asking for choices, you're asking for possibilities and contribution. And living that like 10-second increments of choice, is it's a practice in a way. And it was just like, now I'm going to make my coffee, and now I'm going to, and I was like, messaging my mom about Christmas presents, and then like filling out a form and like listening to a podcast. And then I would like go over here and do this. And just like, but it's this sense of like, I think a lot of people would call it like being in the flow,
Yeah.
where, or like a flow state. I know I've heard that. I don't really know exactly what people mean by that. I mean, I like if there's another meaning or whatever, but I don't really use that language, but it's like that kind of a thing where it's just like this movement. Because it's not, when I first started playing with these elements of creation, it was like, I'm going to ask a question and then that will give me awareness of choices that I have. And this is this is actually like probably valuable for people to hear if this is a new conversation, or even maybe if it isn't, but you ask questions to get more awareness and choice. It opens up choices that you didn't think you had before. And you make choices that also give you more awareness, and also kind of start to show you like where else you can go. So they give you more awareness of different questions and also different choices and different possibilities. And then there's this receiving that goes on, which is the contribution piece really from the universe with all of it. And so for me, it used to be kind of more of a linear thing. And now it's like, it's this space of like asking, sometimes actually asking, and sometimes it's just being the question. Now what, now what, now what, now what, and choosing and plan, like seeing these possibilities. And when the possibility, like there was this really cool like I was kind of even in a little bit of a funk this morning. I got in my hot tub and I was like, huh. and then it was just like, oh man,
Same person. Oh my God.
I was just like, fuck this, I'm going to create, and I just boom, like got into creation. And then there was this like a couple possibilities that just like popped, and I was like, let's do that, and I have an amazing team, and we were like, can we do this right now? And I was like, yeah, let's do this right now, and that's the thing, is you can change your whole life in 10 seconds or in an hour or in a day. Like you can change everything by using these elements, these sources, these energies, and you could really I think it's so fun to get to the end of the day and be like, I had no idea that was going to happen,
Shizzle, shizzle, y'all. I mean, you're talking about, you got up this morning with a weird funk. Same for me this morning. So I was like, are we the same person? I don't know. But, I always ask, it's like, I remember Simone Milasas, who created Joy of Business, you guys, and how to get out of debt joyfully. She's got some amazing books. We both love her. I'm a relationship done different facilitator. So I, like you, I was like, I can't wait to facilitate that class. I jumped in last year, which is when it first showed up in the world. But this whole thing, I wake up in the morning and I kind of touch my body, but hi body, hey, how are you? Who are we today? What glorious and grand adventure are we going to get into? And I ask the questions every morning. I mean, do I want coffee this morning? It's this weird thing, but it's so, I don't even know how to explain it anymore. I don't really ask the questions anymore. I just kind of move through the motions.
Yeah.
Where do I put my attention today?
Yeah.
Usually like 9 times out of 10, the hot tub is involved.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's where I get all my grand ideas. I'm like sitting there and I'm communing with Mother Earth, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, ESP and SOBs can be in my body be to be the contribution to you, whatever I need to be with total ease. And I'm like, and my mom sees me sometimes. She goes, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just SOPing with so many possibilities, y'all. And, we won't get into all of that right now, but you could definitely go on YouTube and do SOP and Dr. Dan here and get a lot about that. But that's the thing now. I realize, because I've known about Access since 2003, but I didn't actually step into it until 2011, 2012. And I've become the tools, y'all. I've become a tool. I've become the tools of Access Consciousness. And it's like what you're saying, where it's this organic thing where you be the question. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that space of just being the question, what can I create today? What can I create and generate today? Who and what can I be? It's amazing what just shows up. It's like all these, I don't know about you, like these little not necessarily vignettes, but these little things sort of ping me. And then I gravitate towards what feels light for me, the
Mhm.
choices or whatever they might be. And that's when I can denote the possibilities. It's like, okay, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years? If I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 seconds? It's like
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then in the space of playing with those energies, that's where the contribution comes in. It's like for you, I had 3 create calls today in the middle of also doing RDD CF training and all
Oh,
this.
that's right. You said you were doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. So it's been pretty amazing, really and truly. Um, so you said that you found access. When was it that you actually stepped into access? Do you remember?
I think it was 2010.
So you guys, in 2010, access was in Australia and America. And Italy
And
showed up. Yeah. And then Italy showed up like shortly afterwards. And it was a completely different universe, And now, so 3 countries, and now we're in 179 countries. How did you find access? I'm just curious.
it was in more than 3 countries because it was in Europe as well, but and
Oh,
Canada, and yeah. But I actually knew somebody who worked for Access who was a bars facilitator. I had known her from I used to own a movement studio here in town, and she worked there, and we danced together and stuff like that for many years. And we were just friends on Facebook, and I saw her posting all this stuff about the bars, and I was like, what the hell is the bars,
right.
And I had done, I was really I had already been like very steeped in the world of energy work and healing modalities and growth, like I was a therapist, I did all these things. And I was always curious about new modalities and stuff. And so I think I just sort of, I don't remember, but she basically just offered to run my bars. And she did. And my joke is I had been, because I live in Boulder, Colorado, where there's like, it's like the therapy theme park of the world, there's so many, So my joke was like, I had been on every table in Boulder, like every massage table, energy work table, Rolfing table, cranial table, like whatever stuff you can't even, have no idea what it even is.
Sure.
And she ran my bars, and I just went, you just poured bliss into my body. And I was like, I don't know what that was, but I want it, And she's like, well, you can learn it in a day. I'm like, sign me up. So me and my partner, Brian, and another person who's still a facility, she was a friend of mine at the time. She's a CF now as well. And one other friend, we brought this lady over to my house, and we did a bars class, and that was that. I mean, I loved it. I just, started doing it. And
Well, you jumped in a lot quicker than I did. In 2003, I met a woman that was doing bars, and at the time I was channeling, and so we would trade. So twice a week I was getting my bars run, and the other 2, it was like, I don't remember what day we chose, but 2 times a week I was facilitating her through channeling, and 2 times a week she was running my bars. And for me, I don't know what she did. She would put her hands on my head, and then I'd wake up an hour later and be like, what did you do? Because I had such a stressful life. I was a film producer. There was a lot going on in my world, traveled a lot. And this woman could just put her hands on my head, and I would totally pass out. I didn't even know what had happened, but I knew that I felt so relaxed. I was like, and I didn't even know that I could learn it. She didn't even bring that up. It didn't come up until years later, like 8 years later, when I discovered, oh, I can actually learn this. All right, I'm down, because I had been, I'd actually been to the National Institute of Health in Boulder. And that's where I'd gotten some pragmatic tools and some other modalities. And then this, again, the bars, it was so quick. I thought, wow, why have I not, how did I not know about this because I was doing tapping and all the things. And what would take 10 sessions in tapping, one bars session would take care of. I would see amazing results with my clients. So let's just take just a little pause. I've got to do a commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Feeling a little funky? Devi Essentials Pure Oil Blends can maximize your inner balance. These 100% pure oil blends are designed to vibrationally open up the channels within the physical and multi-dimensional bodies. Your body. So if you're trying to find your groove, let these pure essential oil blends work for you. For more information, go to rudranidevi.com. That's RUDRANIDEVI.com. And we're back. Woohoo! So bars, just in case some of you don't know, we were talking about the bars, which Gary, the founder of Access Consciousness, he's the reason why we're talking. It's his fault why this podcast is even happening. But it's 32 points in the head that when you hold them in different groupings, it's kind of like a delete button, and it dissipates all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that are keeping you stuck in this, whatever this madness is that you've chosen to participate in. I don't know, or whatever it is. And worst case scenario, it's the best massage you've ever had with your clothes on. So for you, it was the bars and no going back. It took me 8 years to leave it, but for you, you just jumped in.
It was just so above and beyond any energetic modality I had ever experienced. And I had experienced so many,
Right.
that I was like, wow, like, I don't know what just happened, but yes,
I'll have more of that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It was just, and it changed so much for me. And I have quite the, like health history, a lot of different crazy stuff that went on with my body for many years. And it was still kind of dealing with it at that point, and had done a lot of modalities to help things along, and, slowly and surely made progress. But the bars, like, totally transformed my body. It just changed everything, like my business started growing, my body changed, like everything just changed from it.
I get a lot of people reaching out to me that have a lot of, and I don't know if you're talking about physical ailments or not, but it's something that there's so many people mentally and emotionally and physically are going through a lot of stress, especially now.
Yeah.
Do you mind just speaking a little bit about what was going on with your body, and then bars, and how that shifted or changed, or what you noticed?
Yeah. I mean, I had, my body was, and I'm actually writing a book about this. So, people will get to read more about it, but,
And thank you for that.
Thanks. Yeah. My health was really destroyed when I was 17, from some pharmaceuticals that I was on at the time. And like really crazy stuff. Like I had, I developed all the symptoms of a brain tumor. I didn't have a brain tumor, but I had all the symptoms. And then they gave me all this medication to handle that. And then it caused all these other problems. And it was just like a one pharmaceutical nightmare after another.
Huh.
So needless to say, it's not my favorite thing in the world.
Great experience. Is that part of the reason why you went into the work that you did?
Yeah. Cause I mean, there were just so many things, but I started, like it didn't ever work. I was just sick. I was sick all the time. I had really severe allergies, like seasonal allergies. Had a lot of food allergies. I was always doing all the diet, I was a vegan and vegetarian and paleo and, blah, 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 blah. I did all the diets, I did some really extreme stuff.
Same. Oh my goddess. We are the same person. This is so weird.
Lots
Okay.
of, acupuncture, homeopathy, blah, 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 blah. And then, and it was, just sort of like kind of helped, but, and I'd been on antibiotics for like a decade, and I didn't realize, I had no idea what that did to my
Steroids.
system. Yeah. Yeah. So really, I mean, if we want to look at the sources of creation, it's like really what occurred. I mean, the bars and the body processes, which is another, thing that, like, bars is the body process, but it's
Hey, wait a minute. You're a 3-day body processes facilitator now, aren't you? Are you
not
working?
yet.
You're
Not yet.
working towards it though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to acknowledge that and perhaps be the first person to host you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm
I want to acknowledge you because
starting a little
I know
tour.
what a magical magician you of magnitude you truly be. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to acknowledge because I saw that and I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
With
Thank
all
you.
of that.
I started working on it a long time ago, and then I kind of
I did
stopped.
too, but I didn't even get halfway there. So
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I know what it
Yeah.
takes to get there. And
Yeah. Aw, thank you.
for real.
Yeah. So I had also, like, I started dancing when I was 2. I've been a dancer my whole life. I was a gymnast, I was a diver, I was a cheerleader, all of that, and like started teaching that. So I just got into this whole world, and plus where I lived, it's like, that's what you do here in Boulder, Colorado. But it wasn't really until this piece of these sources of creation, like the asking questions of my body and making choices based on what my body was asking me for, and like really listening to my body in a very different way. And the funny thing was, I had been a somatic psychotherapist and a movement teacher for 13 years. I was really connected to my body, like really connected to my body. But the tools of access, like, exponentialize that, because I started asking questions. And again, when you ask a question, you can't have a conclusion. They don't go together. Right. So I realized that so much of what I did was actually from the conclusion of, this is the problem of my body. This is how to fix it. Here's something, rather than like, okay, I mean, because, one example of this is I had, I did all these crazy diets, and they kind of worked and kind of didn't, and whatever.
Same.
But I had all these points of view about, sugar and all this stuff. And, so there was no question in my world, and I was on, around the springtime, especially when the trees would blossom, I'd go into like liver detox, all this stuff where I'd be like really, really narrowing my diet down to like almost nothing to be able to handle the pollen. And
Like
then
no dairy, no wheat, no, like water and air.
corn, soy, wow, all of it. Like, yeah. So,
Same.
yeah. So, finally, when I found access, I went, oh, well, Coke isn't bad. Coca-Cola, like sugar isn't bad. Dairy's not bad. Like, none of this is bad. If I ask my body and I listen to my body, and I'm in the question with my body, and I'm in choice with my body, and I'm in possibility with my body, and I'm in contribution with my body, and stepping into those elements with what I was eating and how I was being with my body, and like really including my body in that process of playing, like being the elements of creation, the sources of creation. It was like totally changed things. And then I found it so funny to be like, well, I mean, my seasonal allergies just went away. Like, and people go, well, how? And it's like, well, I just started doing access.
Right.
I don't really, it wasn't like I did this body process 10 times.
That's the thing about the 4 sources, you guys. Here's the thing, you just instead of going to this conclusory reality of, okay, I'm studying and I'm told that because of this, then this, and if I do this, then this. And that's, you're looking it up, you're doing your due diligence, and yet you're not asking, is this true for me?
Yeah. Well, and nobody tells us to. I mean, that's the thing is we don't
Right,
get this information anywhere. You
right.
know, that's the thing that I love too about Access is it's really it's an education
Mhm.
in how to live with these tools and live in concert with the universe and our bodies and our knowing and our being that we don't get in life. We don't get as kids. And like today, here's a great example. So I've tried to give this education to my kids as much as they're willing to have it. So my son, and he's so
Heather
amazing.
has two beautiful sons, by the way, just so you
I
know.
do. They're amazing.
Oh
They're like strappingly handsome teenagers now.
my God, they're like almost men now.
Yeah, totally.
Crazy.
So, so my 16-year-old, he's so great because he doesn't ever talk about the tools but he totally uses them. And so he couldn't find his keys. And so he calls me, he's like, do you have another set of keys for the car? And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, I had the keys, da, 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 da. Like I lost them, I got in my friend's car. I cannot find them anywhere. I looked through his car. I looked through my backpack. I looked everywhere. I might've locked him in the car. I'm like, can you lock the car without the keys? He's like, no, but I might've locked him in the car, So I say to him, I go, okay, well, you have to find them. I'm not going to just come and, you got to find them. I said, here's what I do. I ask the keys to show up and I tell the keys to make themselves visible to me. And then whatever pings me, that's where I look. And I said, I know it's my weird stuff, but try it. He's like, okay, and 3 minutes later, he calls me, I found the keys. And he did. He asked them to show up. He asked them to make themselves visible. And then he followed the energy. He got the ping. He looked in this one place in his backpack and there they were.
Ooh, yay. Just like, that's like my whenever it happens, it's like, an angel gets its wing. For me, it's, ooh, yay. Anyway, I love that he was willing to go.
He totally is. He's like, he's not going to talk about it, but he's
Don't
like,
you wish at 16, I don't know, that we had, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have the cool parents. I love them. Anyway, I'm not going to go into my parents, but he totally
I just don't think they have cool parents either. It's okay. I do though. I know they have cool parents.
That's okay. They'll get it when they're our age ish.
Yeah.
Ish. So,
yeah.
wow. That is so cool.
It's pragmatic. I mean, that's question, choice, possibility, contribution right there. It's like, hey, Keys, will you show yourself? Oh, I'm going to choose to follow the energy and go and look. And there's a possibility that I can find them. And here they are,
Right.
like easy,
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I moved my 88-year-old mom in with me, and it's been very interesting. She's been here almost a year now. It'll be another week. It'll be a year, our anniversary.
Your anniversary.
And it's so funny because, okay, my lineage is because of that lady. Her grandmother and great grandmother were both mediums. And so they told her that she was going to have the child, me, that had all these little gifts and stuff. And it's been very interesting to watch because I'm just me. Here we are living together and I'm just me. And I haven't lived with her since I was 16 because I went to college at 16. Big brain, the things. And so I found an opportunity to get away from my family and I took it. So anyway, long story short, she's watching me doing the things that I do. And it's been very eye-opening for both of us. It's like even with something as simple as a coffee machine, I can't touch the coffee machine or I'll blow it up. So I just do energy at it and it turns it on and it grinds the beans and makes things. How are you doing that? But I have a relationship with the coffee machine, Mom. This is how we do things. And I have a pet squirrel too, which he shows up in the mornings and it's Baxter and I talk to him and I'm SOPing. And she's like, how are you doing that? And I said, it's just an energy, Mom. So I've been showing her some stuff and now she's sort of playing with it. And it's been very interesting because it's because of her that I have a lot of the things, and yet it's because of me that she recognizes that she can also have the things
Yeah.
because she didn't choose them growing
Yeah.
up. And she finally gets that she can actually have choices and ask questions. And so it's so funny to hear her say, so what do we do now? What's possible now? Did those words just come out of your mouth?
I know. I love that. That's so cool.
And it's the
And
same
that's the
16-year-old.
contribution that you get to be, like contribution is not just the universe delivering to you. Contribution it's a word that really can't be defined because it is inherently not even a two-way street of gifting and receiving. It's an every-way street. Everything gets greater when contribution is there, and it's not even reciprocal. It's like exponential and spherical,
Yeah.
and so as we become greater, we get to be a greater gift to the world. And that's just how it works, and you use these tools of question, choice, possibility, contribution, and everything just goes boom, 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 boom. Like it just expands everything.
How lucky are we?
Yeah.
I just love that you told that story about your son, and it's the same with my mom. I mean, it's like if we just be who we be, that's the contribution. And it comes right down to it.
And then ask to be more too, like every day.
Yes.
Ask to be more. Be the question of what more can I be today that I've never considered.
Oh yeah. I'm going to take a page from the book of Simone Millasis where she says, everything I was not willing to receive yesterday, I destroy and uncreate it all. And I took it one step further and I went, why not everywhere where I wasn't willing to perceive, know, be, and receive and receive and receive and receive, I destroy and uncreate it all. And what question can I be today that will exponentialize my life beyond what I could have ever imagined right away? That's part of my hot tub, jargon in the mornings. I don't know about you, but I have this whole thing going on with my hands. My neighbors, I had a neighbor once go, what are you doing? And I said, I'm contributing to the earth. And he goes, okay, I'll help. It's just the funniest thing.
Awesome.
I don't even care what people think of me, And my mother sees me do it too. My cat, all the things, all the peeps. It is
great.
That willingness to actually be who you are, even if it looks like you're batshit crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, like when I gave my son those tools, I said to him, here's my crazy thing that I do, that works. Because sometimes people just need to hear that. And then they're like, okay, well, I can try it. You're crazy, but I've tried everything else. So I'll try that, And so
it's funny too. I mean, I talk to myself, I talk to the pets, I talk to the plants, I talk to the desk, I talk to the microphone, I talk to everything. I love Siri because I talk to her and he actually responds. But it's like the thing is, this question piece, when you put it out there, everything listens. Everything hears you.
And everything
the universe
changes.
hears you.
Everything changes when you ask a true question and you're willing to receive and you're willing to choose. You've just changed the entire universe.
Indeed, yeah, you do. Woo. My whole body's vibrating with joy right now. I love this conversation.
Yeah, me too.
So much. And I could talk to you forever, but I've got to get to the question, because this is the Get Happy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So please, Ms. Heather Nichols, could you just tell our podcast peeps out there how you get your happy on before we say ciao for now?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, there's so many ways, but
sorry.
Yeah. So
Pick one of them, or 10, I don't care.
Well, there's two sort of like key elements of that, I would say. I mean, I don't know. I'm just sort of making this up, but
no, it's all good.
But creation is key for me. Like I've got to be creating and playing with these elements. And when I'm creating, I'm so much happier, and it's like, get happier, like create more, get happier, create more,
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's that piece. And creation looks a lot like a lot of things, it's not just business or doing art or whatever. It's like anything, just like more, what can I create, so there's that. And for me also, like my body is a huge part of all of that. Like I include my body in everything that I do. I'm with my body, like,
Same.
yeah.
I mean, your body's with you like 100% of the time while you're in this reality. So why are you not including it? Because
Yeah.
people have a tendency to just drag it along. I'm like, hi, body.
Yeah. And my body lets me know what it likes, what it loves, what's fun, and
like ice skating.
I listen. I don't just listen. I also choose, and I act upon what it asks for, always, like all the time, so it's just like, it's such a joy to me to get to have a body.
You guys, so like in the beginning of COVID, like November of the 2020, I don't know if it was, not November, I'm sorry, March, April-ish, you decided all of a sudden that your body needed to ice skate.
I did. Well, I didn't even decide. My body just one day it went, I want to ice skate. And I was like, what? It wasn't something I did as a kid. It wasn't like,
you were already a dancer and a movement coach,
yeah,
whatever.
I did a lot of similar stuff, but
sure.
But it was,
for me, it was tap dancing. I pulled up my tap dance shoe. I did. I'm a hoofer. So I got up in it.
You got up in it.
I did, girl. Shut up. Even one of my songs now, I'm tap dancing in one of the parts of the song. The song is called Get on the Dance Floor. And during the middle part of the song, I'm actually tap dancing in the song.
Oh my God, how fun.
Because my body was like, oh yeah, no, we don't need drums. We need you to
we need you
on the beat with your feet.
Be our own drum. I love it.
Yeah.
I love
so there you were, your body just said, hey.
It was funny. I was, and this came from a question, which is a question I ask all the time, is what can I add to my life? To just create more.
I love it.
And I was facilitating a sex and bodies class, and this is all this stuff about bodies, and my body was like, I want to go ice skating. And it was so out of the blue. And I was like, it was like this really fun energy. And I was like, I've never even considered that, but it was so fun. And my body was so clear that 2 days later, no, I think it was even the next day, something really shortly after, I was on the ice. And I literally just went, all right, I'm going to choose it one time, see what happens. I might hate it. I don't like being cold. It's very bizarre. I don't like being cold.
That, my friend, is what a fur coat is for.
Skating in a fur coat would be a little tricky, but
it might be. It might be.
But yeah, I went, and then my body was like, can we come again tomorrow? And can we come again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah. Oh. And it's so much fun for me. It's so much fun. So I found coaches, and I'm not like total addict now.
Okay. So when I was a child, I not only roller skated, but I ice skated. I still have the ice skates and the blades. Yeah, the ice skate and the roller skate. Yeah. Too small for my feet now.
Yeah.
And now I have roller blades. But when you come to visit me, I know where the ice skating place is, because I can just rent skates, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go do that thing, because I
tried to go when I was in Nashville this summer. I actually was like, maybe I can get a day of skating. I'm so obsessed. Everywhere I go, I pretty much take my skates, and I'm like, where's the rink? I do the research ahead of time. I look it up ahead of time. I'm like, where's the ice rink? Is there an ice rink where I'm going? Because if so,
we're making it happen.
Okay.
You're going to come. It's happening. We're going to plan something. And we might even do a class around it.
Sure. Take people ice skating.
I love
That'd be fun.
I totally love it. So, yeah. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
I adore you so much.
I adore
And
you. So
I don't know, I might need to make you a repeat offender again because this was too much fun for me.
I'm happy to do that for you.
I love it. So if people wanted to find you, my love, where would they go? And I'm gonna, of course, put all the stuff in the links below. Where would
Yeah,
they-
heathernichols.com.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my website. And Facebook,
Nichols.
Heather Nichols CF, yeah, on my Facebook, my business page. I'm not an Instagram. I have an account, but I like don't even have the app on my phone. I'm not on Instagram. I'm like,
Actually,
what? I know you all love Instagram, but I just don't get it. Scrolling and
it's
looking.
weird because all the
boring.
Europeans do the Instagram thing, and I'm actually an official check marked Instagram person. I'm working on Twitter now because from what I understand, Twitter's the bomb.com. And I'm like, I'm like you. I'm like, oh, okay. But I
Yeah.
do it for those people.
Yeah. I'm not so into other social media. Social media is, I don't know. I'm a little bored with the whole thing, but I do have a Telegram. I like Telegram. I have a Telegram group that's just like a big free group for contribution to people. If you go to heathernichols.com/Telegram, it will forward you to that group and you can join it. And we post all kinds of fun content and I do fun things in there all the time. So
So you
and
guys,
YouTube as well.
please go there because I'm actually part of that group, and Heather is generous enough to do a lot of videos. She's very impromptu, and if you want to have a little more of this energy, yeah, it's just a choice. So thank you guys for joining us for this dynamic conversation with the fabulous Miss Heather Nichols. And if you liked this conversation, please subscribe, say, hey, I liked it. Share it with your friends, share it with those that you perceive this could be a contribution to. And thank you so much for being a part of this creation, y'all. And thank you, Heather. Again, adore you.
Mwah.
Beyond the beyonds.
Thank you.
And until next time, you guys, ciao, ciao for now. Yay. Oh, it didn't pause yet.